Hi, this is Dr. A. Welcome to Corner of Dr. A, where psychology meets everyday life. Have you ever noticed how easy it is for people to feel right? Not just right, but more right than others. You see it in arguments, in relationships, in families, and especially online. Everyone seems to be standing on their own version of the moral high ground. But what is really happening psychologically when someone feels morally superior? At its core, moral superiority is not just about values, it's about identity. Our beliefs are not just thoughts we carry, they become part of who we are. So, when someone challenges our beliefs, it can feel less like a disagreement and more like a threat. And when identity feels threatened, the mind does something very interesting. It defends. One of the ways it defends is by strengthening the belief, I'm right and you are wrong. But often, it goes one step further. I'm good and you are not. This is where morality shifts from being a guide for behavior to becoming a tool for judgment. Psychologically, this is linked to something called ego protection. The mind wants to maintain a sense of being good, worthy, and correct, so it organizes the world in a way that protects that image. And the simplest way to do that is by comparison. If I'm more aware, more ethical, more conscious, then I must be better. Another factor is cognitive simplicity. The human brain prefers clear categories, right or wrong, good or bad. Nuance requires effort. It requires us to hold multiple perspectives at once, and that is uncomfortable. So, instead the mind simplifies. This is right, that is wrong. But real human behavior is rarely that simple. Then there is something even deeper. Sometimes moral superiority can be a way to manage internal discomfort. When someone feels uncertain, insecure, or conflicted inside, holding onto a strong moral position can create a sense of stability. It gives clarity, it gives control, it gives a sense of certainty in an uncertain world. And here is the paradox. The stronger the need to feel morally right, the harder it becomes to truly understand others. Because understanding requires curiosity, and curiosity cannot exist where judgment is already decided. This does not mean having values is wrong. Values are important. They guide our choices and shape our lives. But there is a difference between living your values and using your values to measure others. One creates growth, the other creates distance. When morality becomes a way to elevate the self, it often leads to disconnection. Conversations turn into debates, differences turn into divisions, and people stop listening, not because they cannot hear, but because they have already decided. Psychological flexibility is what allows us to hold our values while still stay open. It allows us to say, this is what I believe, and I'm still willing to understand you. Because at the end of the day, most people are not trying to be wrong. They are acting from their own experiences, their own learning, and their own version of what feels right to them. When we recognize that, something shifts. We move from superiority to understanding. If this resonated or spoke to you, please like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, and follow me on Instagram and TikTok for more from Corner of Dr. A. And I will leave you with this. The moment we believe we are morally above others, we may have already stepped away from the very values we are trying to protect. Thank you.